Good morning, the time is 10 o'clock. The place is Norwich, to be precise, outside the Theatre Royal. And today's subject can be summed up by the words of the very famous Noel Coward song, "Don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington." Some mothers still do. The debate takes place inside, but first, overture and beginners.
When father played with the parlour, you couldn't see him for paste. Dabbing it here, dabbing it there, paste and paper everywhere. Mother was stuck to the ceiling, the children stuck to the floor. You've never seen a blooming family so stuck up before. You've never seen a blooming family so stuck up before.
Bravo! Well done. Now, how long, how many years have you been learning to do that?
Since I was 3.
And how old are you now?
11.
So you've been working at it 3 for 11 leaves 8, and you?
When I was 2.
And now you're 11 as well?
Nearly 11.
Nearly 11. And you?
Started when I was 3.
Now, why did you start? Was it because your mum said, come on, it's about time you learned some dancing, or did you, who spoke first, you or your mum?
Me?
You? What did you say to her?
Can't remember.
All right, did you have to argue at home or what? What happened?
One day I just found myself at a dancing school.
Now, are you still working away hard at dancing and singing? And
Yeah.
Why?
I just enjoy it.
And do you have ambitions?
Yeah.
What are they?
To be in Cats.
To be in Cats. So you want to be a professional?
Yeah.
Now, is that true for you as well?
Yeah.
Singer, dancer, everything?
Yeah.
Actress as well?
Yeah.
Now, you're really you want to push for that more than anything else in life?
Yeah.
Do you know what made you so enthusiastic, or was it just born in you?
Born in me.
Born in me. Right. Well, we're going to develop that argument. Curtain up, if you be so kind, please, monsieur. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Come and sit down. Oh, take the microphone with you. She's just put my microphone in her bucket, which is a very sensible place here. We have an audience here of actors, actresses, agents, youngsters who are fighting their way forward, teachers who are teaching, mums and dads. In fact, you name them, we've got them. I'm going to start off with Ivor Danvers. You have become a star of Howard's Way, and you're appearing at the Whitehall Theatre, and you have worked your way to a happy situation in your acting life. But there are black patches, and I think they ought to learn about them. Are you prepared to talk about your black patches as you wended your way?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I mean, I think there'll be plenty of black patches. I mean, there always are in the theatre, for as long as I can remember. I mean, I can only say I started off, I think, at the age of 13 as a child, acting in this. I think I did. I mean, I can only speak for myself as far as child actors are concerned. When I started, it was because I couldn't think of anything else I'd rather do. I always liked acting at school, and when it came to deciding what I was going to do in life, all I could think, well, working in an office or being a bank manager or something like that, which seemed quite difficult, I thought.
But in the sense you auditioned the acting profession by being at school full-time, working on a full curriculum and doing acting on the side, as it were, in the School Drama Society?
Yes, but when I went to school, I might say that the academic side of it was not very much.
You mean you were almost as bad as me at school?
Absolutely, yes, yes. Well, I think I was a lot better than I was. It's just I wasn't very interested. I seem to remember always on my reports, they always said, very good, but a bit of a dreamer. I used to love looking out of the windows and watching things and imagining what was going on in the houses there. But I acted until my voice broke as a kid, and I did a lot. It was all regional stuff then. There wasn't much television, so everything I did then was really in the theatre, which was very good training, I think.
But what about age 25, let's guess, already an actor, sat in your bedsitter or wherever thinking, my God, I haven't got any work?
Well, this is a terrible thing, you see, about acting, is, one, you have to be quite sensitive, because if you're going to play a part, or if you're going to play a role, then you've got to be sensitive to the way that character is going to think, the way he works, the way he acts. At the same time, you've got to be as hard as nails, because you're going to get an awful lot of snubs, and you've got to have your confidence dented time and time again when you go up and they look at you and they say, yes, no, you're not quite what we wanted, really. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Too old, too young, too fat, too thin.
So it can be bruising.
It can be.
I think...
Can I bring in the youngsters and ask them?
Yes.
I mean, you're various people at school or learning here, there, and everywhere, singing, dancing, acting. What actually motivates you? What actually made you decide that that's what you wanted more than anything else in life? Who's going to come in first? Come on, think about it. Tell me what motivates you. Is it fame?
Well, I started dancing and singing when I was young, and that's what I've always wanted to do.
But why did you want to do it? Is it because you wanted applause? Is it because you wanted to become rich? Is it because you felt it was a great art?
I enjoy it, that's all really.
It's a form of artistic expression.
I enjoy performing.
Yes. The adrenaline works well.
Yeah.
Who else? Well, you're learning to be... You're not learning to be, you are a dancer, working hard at it. What started you doing it?
Well, I saw a television programme, Fame, and I thought, crumbs, I want to do that.
Fame, was it?
Yeah, and I thought I want to do that. I got a lot of mickey taking at school, but when I'm on stage, I just like feeling to work to music. I just love giving the audience pleasure.
But, I mean, it's interesting you've used the word fame, because obviously the question I have to ask you is being famous one of the things that you most want in life?
No, not really. I just want to perform on stage, and I just love moving to music. I just love it.
So you don't mind if you don't get to the top? You'd be quite happy? I mean, it would be nice.
Yes.
But...
Just want to get work.
All right, so it's once again, all creative satisfaction. Creative satisfaction?
Yes, I think it's something in a person that likes to stand out in front of the lights and have a rapport. There's no other feeling as just standing on the stage and seeing the people out there and enjoying it. There's a high, like you said, adrenaline. There's a high you get from being there.
Supposing I use the dreaded word vanity, what will you say to me?
It's not vanity. I mean, everybody wants to do a job that they enjoy. Well, it's nice to do something that you enjoy, isn't it? And also be paid for it. I mean, there is no other feeling. I mean, I personally couldn't sit in an office day to day, plonking out on the typewriter and clocking in 9, clocking out 5. It doesn't appeal to me. There is something about standing on the stage and having that feeling and hoping everything goes right, and when everything goes right at the end, there's no other feeling like it.
Some of the audience out there will be saying to themselves, it's all very well for him to talk with his enthusiasm. He must somehow be financially insulated to be able to take those risks. I couldn't because I'm not. Can you understand them thinking that?
Yes. I've been lucky. I mean, I've worked in a few West End shows, so I've been all right so far.
And do you do work on the side to earn money? I mean, do you work in a snack bar or something if you need to?
Yes, I do. I can do if I want.
But do you?
Not if I can help it.
All right, let me move to Sally Thomsett. Sally, you became famous young. I mean, Railway Children, and there you were.
Oh, yes, but I've been working for 8 years before that.
And those were 8 quiet years, or...?
No, they were 8 very, very busy years, but not anything that was commercial. So that was the first thing that I did that sort of put the face on the newspaper and, you know, things like that.
But, OK, there were those 8 busy years, there was Railway Children, there was that awful film which I couldn't bear looking at.
I know, Straw Dogs.
There was Man in the House.
I wasn't in the blood.
You weren't in the blood bath?
No.
It was rough.
It was, I watched it, I mean, I watched it all being sort of taped up and everything, not to go into detail, of course. And I knew, but no, I can't. No, because somebody might be having their breakfast or something. And I mean, I knew it. He was on an electrically operated thing and everything. And I watched it being shot.
And even as an actress knowing, we mustn't talk about Straw Dogs as I don't want to no, right.
It did make me feel ill too anyway, so that's all right.
Yeah. What I wanted to chuck at you was, OK, you had all those years. They worked very well. You must have had the creative satisfaction. You must have getting the buzz that they want.
It was wonderful.
But what about, I mean, that can't be continuous, can it?
It's not.
What happened after, I mean, when did the buzz switch off and what happened?
Well, I don't want to generalise, but so many people seem to have a sort of 10-year period between acting as a child and being accepted as an adult, where you just you can't get arrested, basically. Well, mind you, I have managed to do that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And if you can just hang on in there throughout that, I mean, you do bits and pieces. I mean, I'm just about coming out of that now. And it's been a long time since anyone has offered... Well, nobody's ever really offered me an adult role, even though, of course, I'm old enough to play it.
So you see, I mean, does that present a problem? Imagine, OK, so you become an actress, and so things worked well, and you're young, and therefore you get young parts, because you're naturally cast for them. But then somebody they say, oh, no, she looks too old to be young, but she doesn't look old enough to be grown up. So... out of work.
And everyone's going to remember her as the little girl from, is the thing.
Can you bear the thought of being out of work for long patches of time because you've gone from one and not yet arrived at the other?
Well, I'm not too worried about that because I'm sure that if I wear bunches in my hair, I can look small. And if I wear makeup and do my hair nice, I can look old.
So you're relying upon... Does that work?
No.
No, come on. Did you go through a patch?
I'm in it at the moment.
You're in the patch?
Yes. Well, everything I go for, I'm either too young or too old, too tall or not tall enough. There's nothing you can do. If you don't fit into what they're looking for, then you're stuck.
You just have to wait. You really do.
And how long have you been stuck?
For a year now.
And what's the future look like? And what's your bank manager saying to you?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing a couple of A-levels as well, because you've got to have something to fall back on.
Ah! So what you are saying is, I still want to do it, but I've got to get some insulating tape.
Yes. Yes.
I see. And what do you think your alternative might be if you...
To write. I want to write as well. Then at least you've got something to do.
Well, I think, if I may introduce a face to our audience, this gentleman, could you look at that camera out there? There he is. Now, you see, I don't think that he will instantly mean a lot to you. But if you look at a clip which is about to come up, all will be revealed, said he. Is it being revealed?
It's the Milky Bar Kid!
The Milky Bar Kid is strong and tough, and only the best is good enough. The creamiest milk, the whitest bar, the goodness that's in Milky Bar.
The Milky Bars are on me!
Milky Bar so creamy white, Nestle's Milky Bar.
Bravo. Now, Terry, tell us the story of your life after Milky Bars.
There's no life after Milky
No life after Milky Bars?
I didn't intentionally finish the business, go out of it. As Sally, the young lady, was saying, it got to the stage after Milky Bar. I was too old, too young. But because of the image I had with the glasses and the blonde hair, which I've still got, it was very hard. I probably got lots of work from the Milky Bar Kid, but also lost a lot. And it got to that stage where, what should I do? And because I didn't go to a stage school full-time, I wasn't involved with 90% of the school being out of work, with the privilege for you getting work. I was finishing filming, going back home, mates coming home from school, just getting on with life. And I just drifted out of it. I wanted to get on with life.
So, rather than being a Milky Bar plugger, or whatever you would be doing now, you are now...
Air conditioning engineer.
And you look back on those past days with pleasure?
Yeah, it was an experience. I mean, I didn't come from an acting family. As my sister was dancing, she said, do you want to come up there? There's a few boys. And I went up there, and I was an agent for filming, television work. And I did a few adverts and films, and then Milky Bar came along. And when I'd done Milky Bar, it wasn't a star part. Now, it's looked on as a privileged part to get.
So what we've got, actually, is one actress who hung on and is coming out the other side, one actress who is in the middle and is saying, I'm taking some A-levels. I've got an actor who said, I'm the bloody wonderful air conditioning engineer, and I quite enjoyed it in my day. And what I really now want to do is get mums and dads whose children are in the process to talk about where they stand in terms of encouraging, pushing, cajoling, or just gently guiding their children. Which mum and dad is prepared to actually say, I am pushing pretty hard?
I'm not pushing pretty hard.
You pushed your hand down.
You can't push a child into doing something on the stage, dancing, acting, whatever, if he or she doesn't want to do it. All you can do is, if they want to do it, hope they're going to give up, but encourage them all along the way.
But, I mean, level with me, internally, you must, as a mother, get a buzz and a sense of excitement
Every
and pride.
time he goes on stage, I feel sick.
From nerves.
Because I'm afraid he's going to fall on his face or something, but he's never let me down.
But that, in a funny sort of way, if you'll forgive my saying so, means that you are actually sharing in the sort of adrenaline excitement of his doing it.
Yes, but it's a very precarious career for him to have picked. He wants to be a ballet dancer. He starts at the Royal Ballet School next Monday.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I'm supposing he comes to you after a year and says, Mum, actually, I think I want to pull out.
Fine.
You'll say...
Whatever he wants
it's your
to do,
your
we'll back
decision.
him, yes.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please do.
Since he was born, we looked at him hoping he'd have some sort of talent, whether it's whatever it was. If he loved football, was very good at it, we'd have encouraged him to play football. If in the lower school he'd have been brilliant at technical drawing, I'd have got all sorts of stuff to help him with being an architect or surveyor. It so happens that dancing was his thing, and we did everything we possibly could to encourage him in what he appeared to be good at.
So
what's wrong with that?
Neither of you in any way had the spark in your own childhood of saying, I want to be a dancer or I want to be an actor or anything? You simply said, that's the way he wants to go, and if we can help him, whichever way he wants.
Every possible bit of encouragement we can give him.
Any parents out of gear with that? Would any parents say, well, actually, to tell you the truth, I am a bit pushy?
Well, actually, I've got two children.
Are you a bit pushy?
No, I'm not pushy at all. I think I tried to... I wanted them to have a good academic career. I mean, I wanted them to be nuclear scientists and earn lots of money. Even my son, the doctor, things like that. But I mean, they both of them... It's strange enough, they both of them went into music. They're both quite successful in music now, singers and performers. And I think it's like nursing, it's a calling. I think you either are or you're not. You know, you say he's black, he's white, he's an actor, that's what it is. That's what you are.
Well, let's move to some of the more extraordinary versions of, what shall we call it, show business? The entertainment industry. I mean, could we have the table girls, if you can manage to bring it? And Louise, your table is coming on stage. Now, you do things which, frankly, I don't think anybody else here, or for that matter, sitting at home, can do. And I've not seen you do it. So the stage is yours, my dear. And... The silence is because people are so astonished at what she is doing. Congratulations. I think the academic word for that is contortionist. You're a contortionist. Now, I think I've got a one-word question for you, Louise. Why?
Well, when I was about 3 years old, every time I heard music, like Top of the Pops, I was jumping on the furniture and doing this and doing that. And I started ballet when I was 3. And then by the time I got to the tap age, my teacher said, I kept moaning to Mum, and I said, oh, come on, Mum, let me do acro. So Mum said, well, we'll give it a try. And I had to try it. Then my teacher said, well, you're very good, so why don't we take it a step further? And I just carried on from then.
And I mean, are you hoping to make a career out of being a contortionist?
Yes.
I've got to ask you the question again. I mean, is it the applause which makes you love it so much, or is it the knowledge that you're doing things with your body which other people certainly can't do? I mean, what is it that makes you feel so happy and good about it?
The enjoyment of it.
The knowledge that you're controlling?
Yes.
And what does your mum and dad feel about it? I mean...
Oh, we enjoy it as well.
Did you encourage her?
Oh, yes. Yes, we encourage her as much as possible.
From the word go?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you the difficult question. Where does encouragement stop and push start?
Well, I don't know. I mean, as I say, we just encourage her as much as possible. If she wants to do it, then we make her do it. And if she doesn't, then she doesn't do it.
And she does, so she does.
Oh, yes.
I think that encouragement and it depends on the other parent, that encouragement is helping her and saying, yes, you can. Pushing is when you're trying to say, do it, and she doesn't want to do it. And we don't allow, you know, any of that to come in to whatever she does. She does it because she has this ability. I think that she also likes the applause. She likes the fact that she is pleasing people and the fact that she can do this. I think that in some ways, because she's very clever and she does this, exhibitionism comes in it a bit. I think this has to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
But we help her and we give her whatever financial assistance we can to continue her training, but we never push.
OK, well, end of part one with message number one, encouragement OK, push going too far. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to discuss the dreaded word, how does one get there? Welcome back. As I said before we left, we're now going to talk about how a youngster can carve its way to the top, because I think there are more ways than one. And Rusty, I think you think there are more ways than one as well, don't you?
Yes, there are. First of all, for young children, you will have the dancing schools. Whether they will teach just dancing, singing, or singing drama as well. And then they go on from there to theatre schools. But there again, there are so many that you've got the elite, which they will hold auditions to bring on the child. So they say, OK, we've got the right one. But to get children, you can spot talent from a very, very young age. But there again, there are a lot of people without talent that still want to go into the theatre because they still want to have this exhibitionism. They still want to show off. They still want the glory of standing on stage and their fellow human applauding them. So they get the glory like that way.
But do schools, I mean, I think the difficult question to answer, because it might be unpopular with particularly the headmaster of the Italia Conte, is do some schools actually deliver false aspirations, false hopes?
Yes. Yes, they do.
I don't think so. It's not financially viable.
What's not financially viable?
Well, there are so many children who want to do it. Why take a child with no talent and get X amount of pounds and no percentage when you can take a child with talent who's on top of the money they're going to pay to go to the school, is also going to work and is also going to make you a percentage?
I think I can answer that one, and I'm certainly not talking about the Italia Conte. What I'm saying is there are bound to be some schools, frankly, who are doing it not so much for the talent of the child as for profit.
Yes,
there are bound to be.
What I'm saying is they're more likely to take the talented child because they're going to make more money out of that talented child than one who's not going to work. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I can see what you mean, but I think the chap behind you, and I'm going to come to the headmaster, the chap behind you feels that there are schools and schools, don't
Certainly.
you?
Certainly. I think one classic example is Judy Garland, highly talented young lady, and she was pushed and pushed and pushed and suffered in later life. She had talent, but it was misused. She was far too pushed.
Yeah, but are you particularly pointing an accusing finger at the school, or are you pointing an accusing finger at all the aspects of her career?
I'm sure that most schools, if they've got talented children, are going to push them beyond what they should be pushed at a certain age. I'm against doing it sort of too early. Children should have a chance to grow up without being pushed.
Can I ask, I mean, you were in how did you learn? School or other instincts?
I learned by just filming, you know, the series, but like this gentleman just said...
But how did you get to the point of being hired? Had you been a film extra, or had you been to school?
No, my face was right for the part. That was... I walked through the door and I was lucky enough to get the part because I had the right face.
You said, excuse me, I hear you want somebody
yeah.
Hello?
That's it.
God, you were lucky, weren't you?
Oh, very lucky. I mean, to do that, it was, you know, Black Beauty was a long-running series. But like this man said, I mean, Keith, is it? Sorry. There are children in stage school when I was there that had no talent. And to me, I didn't understand why they were in stage school, because they couldn't contribute anything. They were put down, literally, because they just shouldn't have been there. And I thought that the stage school at the time was just taking the money from the parents.
I think I'd better give our headmaster of the Italian country a chance to get his oar in.
I think I can. The bit I can say.
And not just about your school, which may have one set of standards which you would obviously argue for, but about others as well. You needn't name them.
Well, it's very difficult for me to speak about other schools because I haven't been in others. I've been with mine for a very long period of time. But I do know that we've been going for 76 years, but we're not in a position to rest on our laurels for a moment. We are only as good today as the children we produce. Yeah. If you're worrying about, is a good school, not a good school, go to any West End theatre and pick up the programme. Where did the people who are performing in the shows train? And look at the ages, obviously, of those people. But the things that are important, I've got Jason's, we've already heard. I've had Jason since he was 11 years old. He's not from an incredibly wealthy background. He came to us because he had an ILEA scholarship to come to us. He's gone through school, he's loved dance, and he's always worked extremely hard. He's left us with his 8 O-levels. He's gone on, he's taken teacher training qualifications. He can teach dance, he can teach drama. But he'd left with his equity card. He went straight into 42nd Street from the school, and he's the only boy, apart from everything else, I've ever graduated who's had a mortgage before he's left school. Our children do things.
That's
what it's about.
Well, with respect, I mean, that surely is an indication that he's got a certain financial backing, which, I mean, there are not many youngsters who can afford to have mortgages before they leave
I think
school.
the point about it is he got it because he was in...
My parents scrimped and scraved. I mean, they scrimped and scraved. They sent me there. Yeah. Well,
yeah, I know what you mean, yes.
No, yeah, like Mr. Vogt said, I was on a grant from ILEA, and they assessed my parents' earnings, and they assessed them to the fact that my parents could not afford to send me.
How much, if he didn't get an ILEA scholarship, I'm going to ask a very naughty question now. I mean, for somebody who cannot get an ILEA scholarship or any other funding, and who needs to come out of their parents' bank balance to you, what would it cost for parents to have a child at your school for a year?
It would cost them £3,000 a year.
And how many years do they need to be there in order to go through the full training course of from
I can
novice
take a child
to...
at 9 and 11, and I would hope to keep that child till they were 19 years of age, at which time they would be able to earn their living in the profession.
So what we're saying is possibly 8 years and probably £24,000 over those 8 years to go through one of the best schools in Britain.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You see, the thing is, though, I'm not being funny, but teaching them technique and everything is a lot different than being out there and performing it.
Yes.
And I was, as you would call it, a child star, you know, ditto. But I'm now a comedian, and no one can teach you to be a comedian in stage school. No, there's only one way to learn, that's to go out there with an audience and die a few times.
Could you make a joke about stage schools for us, please, now you're a comedian?
Well, I think stage schools actually are a joke. That's my opinion. You know, I really do think that, you know, maybe that there is a little bit of...
Well, you see, now, the crucial thing... I think I've just pulled off my aerial. No, I haven't.
You've got to know how to get on there and do it, haven't you? You've got to be trained to do it.
There's a lot that aren't.
But the crucial thing we've got to get out in the next 5 minutes, because there's lots of mums and dads out there watching. I mean, we know it's costly, although we know that it is possible to get grants, so people can do that. But the thing I'm worried about is that a school can awaken ambitions which the kid can't deliver because the natural talent isn't there.
No,
and it's a wasted time.
I've got to be honest, I can't accept it.
You can't
for the
accept
simple reason that you can't do it. It's about doing, it's about achieving. I've got kiddies here who are doing, say, for example, taking elementary ballet with the RAD.
So are you saying you never, ever select a wrong child?
No, one does.
Mike, they have to audition
changing as we go along. You know, Mr. Baker at this point in time is producing teachers at a rate of Nottingham universities, and he can't get them to stay in the profession for more than 2 years because they're changing their profession. I mean, their decisions. But I don't feel that if a child leaves at 16 and says, Mr. Vogt, I want a more secure existence. Terrific. They leave not only with their educational qualification, but they leave with a tremendous range of skills and abilities and a confidence and a capacity to cope and an awareness of what their adults expect of them, which other children just don't have.
I'm going to come to you in a second. I want to talk to the pupils. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, but first of all, at the Italia Conti, are you prepared to face the fact that one day you might actually have to look in the mirror and say, well, I've tried, I've failed, and I'm going to have to start all over again searching for a new career? I'm not saying that you're going to necessarily have that happen, but it might happen. Are you prepared to face that possibility?
Well, if it did happen, I would hope to open up, with my parents' help, I would hope to open up a dance shop to keep in the subject, something along the same lines.
like
but
teaching.
you have to think confident. If you don't think confident, then you're going to think, oh, I can't do it. I know I'm not going to do it. Every audition you go for, you're thinking, oh, no, I can't. You've got to think confident. You can't think, oh, no, I'm not going to do it. You've got to think, I am going to do it.
But you've got the safety valve that you can teach if, by any chance, the fuse
If you've got
blows.
your exams behind you, you've got your vocational exams behind you, then you can be a teacher, a dance teacher as well.
What about the fellows who are learning to dance? I mean, do you have anxieties at all about the future?
Yeah, we get a lot of mickey taking at school. People say it doesn't happen now, but it does. I've been locked in the changing room before by 5th years and been made to dance in there so they could laugh at me. So you're not going out of this room and we're going to smash your head in unless you do something for us.
So you're having an image which you deeply resent imposed upon you by outsiders who are biased in your
I did a summer concert for my school, and once they all saw me dance, that was it. I had no more, and they respected me for it because they saw it was West Side Story, as a matter of fact, and it wasn't a ballet at all. And they said...
And it was very macho.
Yeah, that's right. Very strong, very, very strong.
Well, I can understand you're getting cross with people putting up a false image of you.
Yes. It is the competitiveness that gives them, that makes them fight on. And if they're competitive, then they will get on and get work more.
I want you next, yes.
You were making the point that you can just teach technique at stage schools, but the majority of the teachers at Italia Conti have been in the business all their lives as well. And so they know what people want from them when they go out in the business. So the children aren't just told how to turn out and exactly how to stand. They know how to go on the stage and perform because their teachers are performers.
We've got about 30 seconds left to give advice to parents at home. What would you say to a mum watching at home?
If I can say very quickly, he used the word produce twice. That is not what education is about. You don't produce children. You let them grow in their own way.
Yeah. What would you say? What would you say?
I would actually say that
to go on stage, you direct it, you don't
you never know what I'm going to say.
What would you say to a
mum? You must provide an opportunity for people. Stage schools, and in fact our own theatre arts course here in Norwich, provides that for many hundreds of children.
Stage schools provide it for many hundreds of children. We're going to carry on talking. We'll be here again tomorrow, same time, same place, different subject. Bye-bye. Sorry.